All right, 365 Sports, and we're now joined. Ed Too Tall Jones, former Cowboys great, also number one pick in the draft out of Tennessee State, will be inducted into the Texas Sports Hall of Fame coming up on Saturday with Greg Smoke, David Smoke, and Paul Catalina. Too Tall, Ed, thank you very much for being a part of the show. What does Saturday?
Thanks for having me.
Yes, sir. What is Saturday? You've been inducted to things in your lifetime. You have been honored with many things in your lifetime, perhaps probably not enough. But what does this mean to you to be in the Texas Sports Hall of Fame on Saturday?
Well, first of all, very honored. And you're right. I have received a lot of awards, but this one ranked right there at the top. I've had the opportunity to follow Texas sports. And I tell you what, it's you're talking about a state that produced some of the greatest athletes to ever play the game, and not just football, all sports. So when I got the word, I was very honored, and it just reminds me of what good work ethics and hard work, it does pay off.
And you are now in there with a bunch of your former teammates that are in, and coaches, and Gil Brandt, and all of these people that meant so much to it. What does it mean to be kind of part of another fraternity with those guys that you did so many great things with?
I always welcome that with open arms, and you mentioned guys like Gil, who founded me back when I was in college at Tennessee State. He was the first person to really scout me, and former teammates of mine. A lot of those guys are responsible for me being in the position that I'm in. So I'm very honored to be joining that fraternity.
Ed Too Tall Jones with us on 365 Sports. Do you feel like that you should have gotten more recognition when it comes to the Cowboys, the Ring of Honor, and the Pro Football Hall of Fame?
Never been one to, speak out about that. Always been a team player. I'm one who feel like that, when I took the field on Sundays, I went out there and gave 110% every time. And just blessed to have had a long career, 15 years, which is something that I always wanted. I loved the game and respect the game, wanted to play a long time. And when I think back now about my career, playing 15 years, never missing a game, winning one Super Bowl, playing in two and two others, and the great teams that I played on, we didn't quite get there. Those individual honors are something that the way I look at it, I look around in all sports, and I follow all sports. I see a lot of guys who I feel who haven't gotten the recognition they deserve. And I'm just glad it's a situation where that never bothered me. And those things is something that I don't have no control of. And I'm one who will never lose 1 minute of sleep over something that I can't control. So I'm just happy to receive the honors that I have, and very blessed to receive it.
So you were the first pick in the draft in 1974 out of Tennessee State, and it was Gil and his he was a mad scientist when it came to building the roster and how it happened. Where did it come for you for realizing, hey, I'm a pretty good player here at Tennessee State, to all the way to the top of the draft, where maybe probably wasn't even in your thinking at the beginning of that year?
Well, first of all, let me back up a minute. I was a late bloomer. My high school, where I grew up in Tennessee, we didn't have football. I was baseball, basketball, ran track, box gold and gloves. I thought my future would be in either baseball, basketball, boxing. And to be honest with you, I didn't think it would. I didn't think, because I didn't have nobody growing up to look up to in professional sports, because we didn't have no professional sports teams in Tennessee at the time. We finally got to what was at one time the Houston Oilers, relocated to Nashville, but I was long gone by then. So I didn't grow up with football heroes or baseball or basketball heroes. I just wanted the opportunity to compete. And when my brother-in-law convinced me that I had the potential to be a good football player, I listened to him, and I went to Tennessee State, which was one of the best decisions I ever made, because I had planned to go to Arizona State, following in Reggie Jackson, the baseball player, footsteps, and play both baseball and basketball. When I lost my father my senior year, my brother-in-law said, "You need to go to Tennessee State where you can check on your mom, and you're a football player." So to go to Tennessee State, and the way they took me under their wings and worked with me is a reason why I was able to develop as fast as I did, because had I attended a Division I school, they had so much talent at those schools, there's no way a raw talent they would have devoted the time that I needed at the time. I would have been a number. So I credit Tennessee State and a great coaching staff. Back during that time, Division IIs were very powerful. And Tennessee State and Grambling were the two most powerful Division II schools at the time. And I happened to be on one of them with great coaches, and the rest is history. And I'm still shocked, especially when you being the first lineman to ever go number one overall from Tennessee State with the little experience that I had. But again, that's why I credit others. I credit the players who were in the upper class that worked with me. I credit from day one my parents teaching me good work ethics and to give it everything you got if it's something that you want to do. And that's what I did. So I paid a price for it, but to turn out like it did. And also, during that time, the only teams that I got to watch on TV was Dallas and St. Louis, which is Arizona Cardinals now. Well, we got Dallas the majority of the time because they were winning, they were on TV. And so to admire Coach Landry and all of those great players from the 70s and, actually late 60s and 70s, it was a dream come true. And I didn't want to let anybody down. And after being drafted by Dallas, one of the things I said was, in order to thank them for drafting me, I would give them everything I had to make them appreciate drafting me number one overall. And I did.
I had read the note about you didn't play high school football. Maybe there was a game or two, but they didn't have football. What was it like for you, and how were your teammates reacting to you with being this big, large man and being on the football field when they had never seen you on the field before?
Well, short story. First day of practice, I walked into the equipment room, and the longest pair of pants they had hit me above my knee. And the equipment manager said, "Wear these, stay out of contact drill, we'll have your pair made." I walk on the field, and the guy did a double take and said, "You know you're too tall for football." And that's how I got the nickname, Too Tall.
There you go.
But I think what the main thing they wanted to do, because like I said, they had a good program, they wanted to make sure that I wanted to be there and I was tough enough to be there. So I got in a fight almost every day those first 2 weeks until I heard a guy tell one of the guys once, say, "You know this guy fought Golden Gloves." And after that word got out, I didn't get in not one fight. And my coach called me over after practice one day. He said, "Hey, I want you to stay after practice. I need to talk to you." This was Joe Gilliam, the defensive coordinator. And I said, "Oh boy, I guess it's back to basketball. You better let me go." He said, "Look like you take this game serious." I said, "Yes, I do." He said, "You realize today, if you were to make it to the next level, you'd be one of the tallest in the history of the game." I said, "No, I didn't." And at the time, I was only 6'5". And he said, because of the chop block, which is a block that I don't think that ever should have been legal,
Right.
because of the injuries that it caused, he said, in order for you to protect yourself from that, you have to be one of the best conditioned athletes on the field. He said, if you're willing to do my rigorous program, et cetera, I'm willing to work with you. I said, yes, I am. So not only did I do his rigorous program in conditioning after practice, I also went and worked out with the Tennessee State Tiger Bears, which was a women's track team, and several of those ladies won gold medals in the Olympics. I went and worked out with them on my off time, and I was determined that if someone got my legs, they were going to get me giving 110%. And I kept that same attitude once I got to the pros. And again, because of the time they devoted to me and the talent that we had there at that Division II level, I was able to develop at a very rapid pace.
Man, that's some good stuff on the uniform not being nearly big enough, and then also the fact that you had to get around. You're right, the chop block, just a bad deal. Paul,
I've always been curious about your boxing career, and that you got the opportunity to go and do that and to try it, and you had 5 knockouts. You had a short boxing career as a professional, but it was successful. Was there someone that you always wanted to fight that you didn't get to? What did you envision that going while you were doing it, and what drew you back to the NFL?
Well, first of all, what interested me in boxing was growing up on the farm and my dad being a big fight fan. And kids at that time always wanted to be like their dad. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to make my dad proud by boxing in Golden Gloves. And I fought Golden Gloves and knocked a guy, which is still a record, I believe, in the state of Tennessee, in 36 seconds and made the front page. Now, a country boy in my little hometown making the front page was a big deal. Unfortunately, my basketball and baseball coach saw it and gave me an ultimatum. Said either you give up boxing or you can't play basketball and baseball. Well, that was a no-brainer. So I was denied to do something that I really wanted to do. And it was my favorite sport, even though I was playing basketball and baseball and pretty good at it. Boxing was still my favorite sport. And after being drafted by Dallas, in my first fight, I signed a 4-year contract with an option year. Well, my first 4 years, I'd won a Super Bowl and lost one. And that's when I decided that, hey, I don't want to be 40 years old, never having a chance to experience something that I really want to do. So I gave the Cowboys a year notice that I wouldn't be back to prepare for me in the draft. And I remember mid-season Tex Schramm coming to me and saying, hey, we haven't heard from your lawyer. I said, what do you mean, my lawyer? He said, we ready to start negotiating. I said, remember, I told you I would not be back. Well, they knew me well enough to know that I don't play games like that. I didn't tell them what I was going to do anything, but that's when they drafted Larry Bethel from Michigan State, the first round. And I remember the night before my press conference in New York, calling Tex Schramm, letting them know what I was going to, my plan was. I didn't want him to read about it. And the first thing he asked me was, have you talked to Coach Landry? And I called Coach Landry and told him, and the first thing came out of his mouth was, who's your trainer? And I said, Murphy Griffith. He said, He said, you got some good people in your corner. He said, I want you to know that appreciate everything you've done for us. If you ever need anything, don't hesitate to call. So you're right. I had 6 fights. What I started doing was fighting the top 20. Larry Holmes was champion at the time. And I started fighting the top 20. And then I said after my second year, I'd start fighting the top 10. That was my goal. And reasons that I haven't told anyone other than family why I, after 6 fights, winning all 6, like you said, 5 by knockout, I decided to come back. And I can't wait to set the record straight, which I will one day, because everything I've heard is far from the truth. But when I called Coach Landry and told him that I was giving up boxing, and if they had any interest, that I'd like to continue my career with the Cowboys. And they welcomed me back with open arms. And those next 10 years, was some of the best years of my life with that elephant off my back, having experienced something that I wanted to do all my life.
Yeah, it's, you know what, there's a saying, I have it on the desk where I live, is that if you've ever wanted to do something, do it now because you never know when it's going to be too late. Something like that, one of those sayings. And so good for you for fulfilling the dream and also doing it the way you did it. Too Tall, you're from Tennessee. We discussed that. Went to Tennessee State. The Texas Sports Hall of Fame, and we mentioned this earlier, is everybody, men's and women's sports. It could be soccer. It could be football.
Right.
To be somebody from Tennessee, and there's players who played with the Cowboys or whoever, Rangers, etc., who have been in the who are in the Texas Sports Hall of Fame. But a lot of them also have some sort of core where they came from in Texas. Does that mean even more to you that you weren't born and raised Texan and yet you're voted in?
No, what means the most to me is when you look at who's in.
Oh, yeah.
That talent, generation of players. That's what impressed me. I mean, that's what that's what I get goosebumps when I think about it. You know, ever since I got that call that I was going in, because I like I said, I follow all sports. I'm a big track and field guy. I go to the Texas Relays in Austin, and have been to Waco many times for different events, and have toured that Texas Hall of Fame. And I'm just amazed with the number of, I love history. And I love history, and I love reading about people, how they got there, where they came from, because I know, and like I try and tell young kids when I talk to them who aspire to be professionals one day, that it's not just talent alone. You know, that talent got to be developed. You got to have really good work ethic. You got to be very passionate about what it is you want to do in order to pay that price. And so people in Texas, when I first got here in 1974, a lot more, men and women, a lot more knowledgeable about sports than people in Tennessee. And again, it's because we didn't have professional teams. So, you know, being around that 24/7 taught me that people in Texas really know their sport. And I guess when you are introduced to sports at a young age in Texas, you have an advantage on other states because you know knowledge is the key. You know so much more about what's going on, what it do, what's required, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So I've always admired Texas sports.
Well, and the Texas and the state of Texas admires what you did, not only with the Cowboys, but also the way you handled yourself along the way. Ed, we'll see you Saturday afternoon and evening. Congratulations. We look forward to it. It's well-earned, deserved, and look forward to being able to see you and that smile up on the podium Saturday afternoon or Saturday evening.
Thank you. Look forward to it.
Yes, sir. Ed Jones, Too Tall Jones, Cowboys, Tennessee State, #1 overall pick. He was another Gil Brandt find, a diamond that maybe others would not have found.